All right, I'd like to start. First of all, good evening, everybody. Um, I'm sorry, I'm playing with a document here. My name is Miles Thompson. I'm the president of the board of the Philadelphia Folk Song Society. If my head isn't weird enough to look at, I have headphones on because my wife is in the kitchen as far away from me as she can be, and otherwise our two Zoom accounts cause feedback and screamingness. So you get to look at me with things in my ears. All right, first of all, I want to thank you all for joining tonight. Last I checked, we had over 300, now we have 455, 456 people. Thank you all. I do want to start. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate all of this, and I appreciate your willingness to come together to talk. I'd like to turn this over to Ann McNiff, who's going to go over some basic ground rules because we have close to 500 people on the call and a bunch of board members, and we're going to have to control things. So go ahead, Ann.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ann McNiff. I know some of you. I hope to get to know everybody else. I am a 30-plus year professional in the nonprofit field, and over the last couple of years, I've become somewhat of an expert on managing large Zoom meetings. So we're going to go over just a couple ground rules. I do see from the chat that people are hearing the echo that we're experiencing. Six is working on that. It does not appear to be associated with just one person, but it's a really good idea if you're not speaking to mute yourself. So let's go over how it's going to work. After I'm finished, Miles is going to give some introductory remarks. After his remarks, if you have a question, please put it in the chat. The chat can only be seen by myself and the other co-host and host. I will call on people one at a time in the order that we receive them. Again, we ask that everybody who's not speaking be muted. After I call on you, you are welcome to read your question. If you don't want to talk, I can read your question. It is up to you. Discussion or the answer to any question will be limited to 5 minutes. And just reminding people, we have over 500 people on this call, and that's why that has to happen. After 5 minutes, whoever's speaking, I'm going to cut off. That doesn't mean your question isn't going to get answered at either another meeting or by another means. We just have to keep things rolling. Anybody who is asking a question that a response has already been given, I will say that, and we will go on to the next question. Just a reminder, is everybody getting an echo from me now? Yeah, an echo from myself. Oh, it's just a reminder to be respectful. Six has the ability to mute or remove a participant if necessary. I'm sure that won't be necessary. Just a reminder that this meeting will be recorded. So if you miss any or all of it, there will be an opportunity to listen. For you folks on Facebook Live, unfortunately, we cannot see your questions. So please hold on to them. And I know the board will be giving other opportunities to get any questions answered. The goal is to get as many questions answered here tonight, but there's bound to be more. So I'm going to turn it back over to Miles. Oh, I guess I also should say, in full disclosure, I am married to Miles Thompson, so I will not be participating in active board activities, but I'm happy to help out wherever I can. So Miles, take it away.
Yep. Thank you. And once again, somebody who had something going on unmuted, I think you muted it. Thank you for that. Just be aware, folks. There's a lot of people it's hard to hear. All right, I'm reading from a badly prepared text, so I'm not actually looking at you. I apologize. So for starters, thank you, Ann, for the ground rules. And thank you all for coming. I know there are a lot of strong feelings in this room. We have them too. So let's be kind, courteous, and productive toward each other, and productive toward what we're trying to do. We are trying to save the PFS and the PFF. This is not a regular board meeting, so we are not conducting business as usual. We are doing our best to be transparent about our finances and our challenges. We do not have all the answers about questions that people have been posing. We are doing our best to find them. Just, bear with us. We will be doing several of these meetings. We don't know how many. So the idea is that this isn't like the only one. We're not just doing this and then saying, oh, you had your chance. No, we're
You got muted, Miles.
You muted yourself.
Miles, you muted yourself.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Actually, I got a note that said the host muted everyone, so I guess that included me. That's all right. All right, so we're going to do several of these meetings. This is not going to be the only one, and I'm hoping that helps build trust and build transparency and an understanding. Because there are so many people here, we are taking questions in the chat box. We just don't have the ability to let everyone speak freely. We just would not have time. Some of you may want to scream and yell at us. I get it. But that's not productive in moving us forward. I'm sorry. I don't want to be yelled at, but I appreciate your passion. I hope we can have more dialogue in future meetings. The chat box will be closed until I finish my remarks, my introduction. Hopefully the information I give you answers some of your questions. The model we use at the Philadelphia Folksong Society for generating income is broken. The model we use for the Folk Festival is broken. Philadelphia Folksong Society has used Fest as a fundraiser for over 40 years, and that no longer works. Here's what has happened over the years. Tickets were put on sale in December. That money was used to pay off festival debt from the year before, which is fine, if there's also money coming in that pays for PFS operations. Sidebar, don't forget, the Philadelphia Folksong Society is the parent organization. The Folk Festival is a program. It is larger than the society, but it is a program. In recent years, there has been no substantial income for PFS operations. So somebody's got their mute off and they're scraping pans. So there's been no substantial income for PFS operations. So the pre-sale ticket revenue, let me back that up. The pre-sale ticket revenues, the ticket sales, the money we get from putting tickets on sale in December has been used to pay for PFS operations, including salaries, and to pay any debt from the previous year, and to help fund the creation of the coming fest. Can you start to see why this isn't working? As Andy Bromfeld mentioned in his excellent comment on Facebook this afternoon, just to break even, the scale of the fest had to increase year after year. In 2022, we started with over $350,000 in the bank. This was largely from the shuttered venue operating grants from the pandemic relief bill. That amount was a remainder after those funds were used to pay off debts from previous fests and to pay staff as it was intended. I think we started with maybe $800,000. So we started 2022 with over $350,000 in the bank. The last fest cost us $1.2 million to produce. We lost about $100,000. We got hit with unseen costs, some of which I laid out in the letter I wrote and posted. Everything costs more. Fuel has gone up, which has driven everything. Lumber was at the time wildly expensive. Food, supplies, personnel, by which I mean the personnel for the contractors, people who paid to bring their people in to do things. And of course, this is the favorite topic of this last summer, was that fence. The fence was $39,000. And the fence was there because law enforcement from the Homeland Security Fusion Center, the Delaware Valley Information Center, said to us, you need to put up a fence because of the threats you have received. The argument was made, and it's proper. if you don't put the fence up and something happens, and we as law enforcement had recommended the fence to you, your insurance company will not pay you anything. So we put up a fence because the thing we care most about is our community and our people. The fence cost money. When I posted my letter, we had about 30,000 in the bank. In the last week of January into February, a bunch of major bills were paid, back rent and current rent, payroll and insurance payments, among other things. They were all paid in the end of the last week of January, which ended on the 3rd of February. As of Monday, we had $757 in the bank. Not 700,000, not 7,000, $757. Today we have more because people have gone to the website and re-engaged their memberships and redone their membership renewals, and we thank you for that. I don't know what the total number is today, but there is more. But that's how much we have lost simply in operating and paying our bills. Here's another problem. We are seeing new bills come to us every day that we didn't know were out there. Just today, somebody reached out and said, hey, I played a show in December and I never got paid my $500. Okay, we owe that person $500. This sort of thing has been, coming across our emails, and it's a little terrifying. Wendy, at this moment, can you speak to roughly our outstanding costs? Do you have a sense of what they are? You need to unmute. Somebody needs to unmute Wendy. There she is.
Thanks, Six. I appreciate it. All right, so here's the story. I worked this up today with the information we have as of today. The minutes from our last kind of board discussion will be released also tomorrow on the Facebook page, so for you guys to peruse. Okay, here's our current debts as of right now. Number one, a $100,000 line of credit that has been maxed out. Interest only payment on this account is about $750 a month. Number one. Number two, the remaining months of rent for the venue at 6156 Ridge Avenue, 3 to 4 more months of rent, $1,800 per month. That is due on 3 more months. The first month is due on March 1st. So in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Midwood Entertainment, who charged us $100,000 to put on the festival, sent in an additional supplemental bill for $50,000 more for more incidentals that we are not sure was actually agreed upon. We're trying to figure that out right now. Number four, $23,000 due for ice that was supplied to the festival in 2022, a large amount of which was melted, so unusable. Number five, a $1,500 federal income tax bill, which is due February 15th, so 1 week from now. Talisk, who has an upcoming show in this month, they're due $3,000. Their deposit was never paid. And the rental fee for the Ardmore Music Hall has not been paid. $7,987 overdue for storage of the digital archives. No payment was made by the society or the executive director since Q1 of 2022. We were not aware of this. Now we can no longer access our digital archives until we become current with our payment. Number eight, 6% of each ticket sold to Montgomery Town, sold for the festival is owed to Montgomery Township for ticket sales for the 2022 festival. 12,600 tickets were sold. We have paid them $5,000. We're working with the township, but we could owe as much as $25,000 more to the township. Number nine, this is sort of a recap of the festival preliminary numbers, lost just under $50,000. But if we add in the things that are currently also due related to the festival, the loss is over $100,000. So if you add that all up, our debts, and this also doesn't include other artists who may not have been paid that we don't know about, it's north of $200,000 that we currently owe, much of which is due right now. I'm happy to share this document with anyone who wants to see it on our official page.
If I could add, Wendy, all of the information, all the documents we will be sharing tomorrow. We're just using it ourselves tonight for talking points. I do want to speak to one thing, Wendy. The Tortuga rum incident did cost the society, I want to say roughly $20,000. We really don't know. And the reason that it cost us that money is because all we were provided by the routing credit card number was just the number. We didn't have people's names. We didn't have any way to get to people. So when we went to recharge, and it was months later, I think, when we went back to charge those, either cards had been canceled, people had moved on, things had changed. So that was part of on the list of unexpected hits this year.
Someone needs to unmute Miles.
Thank you. Yeah, we have to figure out the universal unmute me sign. So let me pick up where I left off. Just a point of correction in case anybody is noticing this. Wendy said Montgomery Township. I believe she meant Upper Salford Township, which is where we hold the festival. Is that correct, Wendy? Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Just to make, because I don't want anybody spending time writing in the chat that we got that wrong. That's okay. All right. We have an issue right now about raising money. There is a thing in Pennsylvania called the Pennsylvania Bureau of Corporations and Charitable Organizations that registers and essentially licenses businesses to take money and nonprofit charitable organizations to accept donations. Last year, we missed the deadline to renew our Bureau of Charitable Organization registration. This means at the moment, we may not accept charitable donations in Pennsylvania until it is renewed. Now, there were some other things going on with that go back to some COVID delays and some other issues that we resolved. And in fact, when it happened, we were issued a cease and desist letter from the state, Department of State, saying you may not operate as a charity. You can still operate, but you can't operate as a charity. And there were some legal questions about stuff that went on, all of which was fine. And that was resolved last week. And I just want to say for the record that Justin did a great job of working with the lawyer from the state, getting that lawyer the information that was needed. And within 2 days of the two of them starting to talk, the cease and desist order was lifted. Now, this cease and desist order was put in place in the summer. And what we were told to do, again by the state, who likes us, was to appeal the order. And by putting it under appeal, we could continue to operate, which is how we could raise money and solicit through the festival and through the summer. But when the cease and desist order got lifted, there was no longer a cease and desist order to appeal. So suddenly we were back to, but you guys are now unregistered. And we couldn't register while it was in cease and desist land. So we are working on that. That means we may not accept charitable donations in Pennsylvania until it is renewed. Please note that we have not lost our federal nonprofit status. We are still a 501c3 in the eyes of the IRS. Some people were confusing the two things and talking about them and saying, oh my God, we've lost our 501c3 with the federal government. No, that's fine. We have this problem with Pennsylvania. So here's the deal. We may not solicit funds yet. We will get there. They are looking for documentation we don't yet have. They want financial documents from fiscal year 2021, and they just were not done. They will be done. So here's what we're going to say. Please don't use the donate button on the website. That's considered soliciting. If you already have, fine, it's okay. I have yet to get in there because we've all been really busy and take it off. I have no idea how to do that. I'll figure it out. However, the selling of memberships in a membership organization is not considered solicitation. So please renew your memberships, increase your payment level. That is how money can get to us very quickly so that we can pay our federal taxes and can pay some of these outstanding bills that we have immediately because we're otherwise broke. If you do that, when you sign up, a friend of mine sent me he said, I did a test, I signed up, I renewed my membership, I increased the level, and I got a letter automatically generated, and the letter automatically generated, and the automatic letter is signed by Justin. There it is. We haven't gone in there to adjust those systems yet, so just that's what that is. And that's cool, that means it does work. Charlotte, did you want to speak to this issue at all? I can't see you because I have a paper in my face.
Yes, I would. I am not a member of the board of directors of the Philadelphia Folk Song Society. However, I've been a member of the finance committee for the past 4 years. I'm also an attorney, and my practice is, among other things, nonprofit organizations. I'd like to clarify something that Miles said earlier. We need to be very precise about our language here. We can accept donations. We can accept them. You can write us a check for $250,000 tomorrow.
Please.
What we cannot do is ask for money. We can't ask for money. We cannot solicit. A membership, again, as Miles said, is not considered a solicitation or even a donation. However, please be aware that when you become a member of the society right now, we are not guaranteeing any of the specific benefits to go with that at this time. We are not in a position to do so, even if we might love to. So please be aware of that. You can raise money. We cannot.
Thank you, Charlotte. And related to that, a GoFundMe campaign using GoFundMe or PayPal's how to raise money for a charitable organization is also not considered solicitation by us if we have nothing to do with it, and if the person or people organizing that are not substantially involved or not involved in the Folk Song Society.
Affiliated.
So, affiliated, thank you, that's the word I was losing. Now, what that means is that to be careful, I'm presuming that members would be affiliated. So I know there are a lot of people out there whose memberships have lapsed or have stopped being members, but I'll still care. If somebody would do that and look into it very carefully, please, because there's all sorts of ramifications, there are costs and there are other things. But we don't solicit, that is legal. Does Charlotte, go ahead. You're looking like you got to say something there.
Yeah, but remember there are fees associated that come out of donations, and having 100 GoFundMes would not be useful in terms of marketing at all.
If people are interested in this, and if you're really, you also cannot be a professional fundraiser and do this. So you can't be affiliated with PFS and you can't be a professional fundraiser. So if you guys are like, hey, this is how we can help, talk amongst yourselves and let's try to get one of these things, because multiples, among other things, suck up a lot of fees and it's just confusing. Charlotte, did you want to add to that?
No, thank you.
Okay. So listen, my friends, this is where we are. We have two options right now. We have debts that far exceed what we can pay at the moment. So our options are we file for bankruptcy, or we take a pause and rebuild everything from the top down. Rebuild how the festival works, rebuild how PFS works, rebuild what the relationship is between them. My own opinion is that we should no longer run the festival as a fundraiser. It doesn't work. We should look at sustainability. How do we make it sustainable for 2024 and the years after? The problem with this is if you're planning to do something this summer, we should have started this discussion in November. So we're here in February, and you know, I feel very strongly, and the board agrees, we need to take a pause year because we have to reimagine and rebuild what this operation is. Top to bottom, including should the festival be promoted or should it be funded by sponsorships? And I know that goes against our old hippie ethos, but you know what? You can't go to anybody's concert these days without it being funded by Subaru and you know, Xfinity and Coca-Cola, and right? It's too expensive. We are no longer self-sustaining. So that's where we are. I would like to thank you for listening. And Kimberly, do you have the order of what's next?
I believe at this point we are opening up to we're handing it over to our moderator. And, you know, unless maybe the board members can real quick just say, hey, I'm a board member, since we've got 600 people here or close to it. So, hey, I'm Kimberly Sinclair. Thank you all so much. I am the person talking to you on social media. If there's not a name attached to it, I am the little moon. So thank you all for being so lovely. I'm the vice president. I'm talking to you from Hampton, New Brunswick, but I spend half of my time in Kentucky, where I was born and raised. My first fest was 2019, where I realized that had been missing my entire life because it was the most magical, fragile thing I've ever seen. And I've been on the board since February of 2021.
And we should say she's in New Brunswick, Canada, not like New Brunswick, Kentucky or something. Wendy?
Any
Yep.
other board members? Okay, there's Wendy.
So I'm Wendy Fewer. I was on the board 20 years ago, just for one term, and then had kids and all that stuff. I was elected about 3 weeks ago. So I'm brand new. I am the secretary of the board. I've been going to the festival since 1986. I've been a performer, I've been a volunteer, I've been a paying camper, all of that stuff. And the platform that I ran on and I will continue to do is total financial transparency. Everybody knows everything that's going on, because the only way this is going to work going forward is if we all can work together and we all know what we're doing. So I'm around. You can email me, wfewer@pfs.org. Just ask me what you need to ask.
Is George here?
Yes, I'm here, George Orgod. I've been on the board of directors for 1 year in order to find out what the hell was going on and try to assist in righting the ship. I've been going to the festival since 85 or 86, both as a paying customer and as a volunteer.
And the other board member is Jim Klingler here?
Can
He was
does he
here.
need
I
to
saw
be
him.
unmuted? Does he need to be unmuted?
There we go. I am here. I'm Jim Klingler. My first festival was the third festival. Obviously, I was a paying customer then. There weren't volunteers. I volunteered years ago for camping, and then moved to society sales, and then became chairman of that committee and passed it along to a number of incredible people who have continued to serve the society. I've been a member, I guess, I've been a member at least 5 years or 6 years. I was appointed not elected for my first year or so. And then I've been elected and re-elected and with Wendy. And I'm the treasurer. And so most of you want to fight with me, but I won't fight. I'll just tell you what I know. That's what it is. And I completely agree with Wendy.
What's up, Shadow?
Please mute.
I completely agree with Wendy's notion that transparency is how we have to go forward to save this organization that I love.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Kimberly. At this point, if you have questions or concerns that you'd like to be addressed by the board, put them in the chat. They're going to go to Ann McNiff. She's going to do some magic and quickly try to make sense of them so that we don't have duplicates going. And she'll ask them and we'll do our best to answer and talk about them.
Okay. John and Carol are up and have a question about Spring Thing. John and Carol, are you there? Folks, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to let people unmute themselves. There we go.
I just was wondering, and it's probably too early to ask this, but if there's any chance that Spring Thing could happen.
I can answer that question. I will tell you that it's unlikely that Spring Thing or Fall Fling is going to happen. I placed a call to Camp Canadensis to get a sense of how much it will cost to rent the camp and get all the food and all of that. And there is no way that we can put on Spring Thing unless it breaks even or makes money, which means no scholarships. It also means a firm deadline for people to buy tickets at the price is the price.
Wendy, I have a question.
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on, please.
Wait.
The price is the price. The price is going to be the price. Like, we're going to have a flat price except for kids. I've already talking to them about that, but unless we can get a certain number to break even or make money before a certain date, it's not happening. Fall Fling is the same. Fall Fling has rarely, if ever, made money. It's only broken even over the years. So I will be on the official page with information as soon as I get it. It doesn't look good for this year. I'll try my best.
Thank you, Wendy. That's coming up to the 5 minutes. The next question is from Stu Ryle, and I apologize in advance for massacring anybody's name. Stu has a question about insurance. Stu, are you there? Stu's question is insurance. What's the number? I'm not sure what that is asking. If you are not here, or if someone can unmute him. Okay, I think we're going to have to go on.
We may have to circle back to that.
That's right. Okay, Shannon Gross asked if the live transcription could be enabled. Is that happened? Do we know?
I thought it was. I know it will be on the recording. I apologize. I thought I had turned it on for now.
Okay, I just can't see it. So, okay. Lisa Beth, Jane was trying to get in. Did she? I can't see on this side. Was she able to get in? And Stu, who asked about insurance, is now commenting $200,000 is not that bad. Well, it's all relative, right? Okay, and now we are down to where should we send our questions? Is the music co-op still active? Andrea, do you want to mention anything else about that? Andrea Nardello?
We're not, Andrea, we're not sure yet. Sorry, that's not me. We're not sure yet. We want it to be. There are so many moving parts, and it is one of the gems of what PFS does. So I don't want it to disappear, but absolutely everything we do costs us a little bit. I think Andy Braunfeld said very well today that even a pencil costs money. So, you know, small stuff costs money. So we're going to look into that, Andrea, and hope we can let you know soon.
Okay.
Hey, I appreciate it, Miles. Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself.
Good, good. And you, Audrey, you can email me directly, and we can chat further if you'd like. mthompson@pfs.org.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, the next is, Brittany Ann, are you here? Brittany Ann?
Ms. Person Tranbaugh, where are you?
Hello, I'm here. Yep.
Okay, great. Do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah, I'm wondering about shows that are scheduled at the listening room in Roxborough for the next few months.
Again, we are looking at things, and some of them, I don't know yet. The general idea is that the things that are easy to do, that are self-contained, we can probably do. Stuff that's going to cost us money is going to be a problem. So Brittany Ann, you and I know each other. Please email me and remind me, please, at mthompson@pfs.org, and we'll chase that down.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you for your patience.
Thanks. Max, are you out there? Max, the accountant? Okay, Max, the accountant wants to know, or says, I've worked in sales tax and am currently a hedge fund accounting. Is there currently any accountants on the team?
You mean the board or the
I think so. Probably the board, or like Charlotte said about the
Well,
finance committee.
Charlotte is a CPA. And no, am I wrong? Okay, she's saying no. All right. So your basic answer is really sort of no. That's just what we've got at the moment.
Anne?
Okay, yes.
Give me a moment to find people's name in a list of 500.
Okay.
And I need the first and last name.
I don't have that. That doesn't come up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, because right now I'm looking at a list of formats.
Is it possible, Six, to let people unmute themselves?
I can do that.
I would let people unmute themselves.
Yeah.
And if you do so at a time when you shouldn't be unmuted, we will mute you.
Okay.
Hi.
So
Can you hear
everyone
me?
should be able to unmute themselves. Please do so properly, not all at once.
Right.
Only unmute yourself if it's your turn to talk.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Brian. You might know me as Brian the
Wait,
Furry.
No, Brian, you're not. It's not your turn right now.
Brian,
It's
hold on.
Max.
Wait, hold on.
This person is not legitimately wanting to be here. This is somebody who
I am.
did the link. No, bullshit.
Shut the fuck up.
All right, guys. We don't need this here.
I want to be a musician.
We were talking about
I
the
think,
life and
Brian, I
death
think
of the
you may
folks on
want to
stage.
Guys, it's
reject
obviously
Brian.
a bot. Please kick them out.
I'm not a
Yeah, kick
bot.
Brian
I'm a
the Furry
human
out,
being.
please.
All right, we're going to mute everybody because a couple of people can't play nice. This is like school. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Max,
Max.
can you speak?
Hold on a
Hi.
second. Now, Matt.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was listening today. I was thinking that there's already probably a few things that could be done that might be able to help a little bit. For like the federal payment and the township payment, you should probably reach out and see about filing for extensions to push back those due dates. And then do like a reconciliation research project with the past vendor artists to see who was paid, who wasn't paid, and maybe even work out like a long-term like payment plan just to spread out some of that. Now for the charity donations, like you were saying, like we can't solicit, but like you can go about regular fundraising in a non-charity manner. And I mean, if any of you the board want to reach out, I can try and help out a little bit more from like an accountant point of view.
please, hey, Max, if you could, please send me an email. If you see my name, wfewer@pfs.org, because we are putting together a whole big list of people and their skill sets and their contact info, because we need everybody right now. So we appreciate it. Please send me that email if you could.
Could you say your email one more time?
Sure. W Fewer. So F like Frank, UHR. W is my initial for my first name, W Fewer @pfs.org. Thank you.
The next is Sarah. 6, are you able to see Sarah?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to reach out. My dad's been going to FES since the 70s. I've been going since I was a teenager, volunteer, paying customer, paying ticket member. But like, I am a technology professional. Like I build websites and do a lot of work just on like consumer websites. And I was wondering if there's room to help. And this might be the same question that Max was just asking, but if there's room to help, supplement the technology needs that y'all have, whether it's from the website end or ticketing or being able to facilitate some of the fundraising that you were talking about, like I would be more than happy to help. I'm one of those LEPS members, but so maybe the answer is yes, but
so
would love to be able to do that.
Right.
Send us an email.
Yeah.
Folks, here's what may I suggest. I will make a Google form and I will share it tomorrow on Facebook. So anyone who wants to help, we will have it all in one place. Instead of sending individual, because we've gotten such an outpouring of support. It's just been lovely. So I want to thank you all for that. It's really been amazing. So if you all could hang tight for that Google form and fill it out for us, that way it'll be in one place and we will get back to you.
Great. That's really great. We do have 125 new messages. So for those of you who put in the chat that you would like to help, I am going to direct you to the Facebook page tomorrow to fill out that form so that we can move through the questions. Rich Gobstein, I believe your question was answered in Miles' remarks. So we're going to move forward to Michelle Franklin. Michelle, are you there?
I don't know that I actually got the answer to if we want to donate directly to the folk festival or folk song society. How to do it.
Miles, you want to answer that, or I can answer it? Or...
Well, you can, if you write a check and put it in the mail, that's not solicitation on our part. The other thing you can do directly is go in and redo your membership at a higher level.
Okay, but we could send a check to the office. Is that an alternative?
You could choose to do that. I'm not asking you to.
No, I'm not suggesting that you ask. I'm just asking the process.
Yes.
Right, but we don't want to be caught soliciting or accused of soliciting. I know it's a fine
give you
point.
money right now.
Ben, please, Ben, wait.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Okay, Michelle Franklin.
Hi.
Who?
I was wondering, I saw a lot of comments on that there was possibility of missing funds. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I figured I'd ask.
That's a thing that's been said and accusations that have been leveled for years and years and years and years. We see no evidence of that. Our current audit, we're behind. The pandemic slowed everything down, as did we, I guess. Our current 2020 audit is being done. All previous audits saw no effort, no indication that anything was missing or that any money went astray.
Perfect.
Okay.
I figured there was probably not a lot of truth to it, but I figured it should be asked.
It's the easiest accusation in the world to make.
Thank you, Michelle. Dan Gossin, are you there? Dan Gossin, Gossin 6.
Yeah, hi, I'm here, folks. My name's Dan Goss, and I'm the parking chairman for the Philadelphia Folk Festival. I just want to make a comment. I am really happy to see all the folks that are here at this meeting. Outpouring is incredible that I'm seeing myself. One comment that I want to make to the board is the utmost importance that the archives are to us. I hope that you feel that as well. I think that needs to be put at the top of the list of outstanding debts. My question is there any plans to put together a leadership committee for the 2024 festival?
There aren't plans yet, because, you know, we're dealing with it. We're dealing with this first. But there are not plans yet, but we will be looking at, I don't know if it's a leadership committee, but something like that. And because the 2024 festival is going to be a top to bottom restructuring, as will the PFS, we're going to have a lot of input from our members. If you're offering, yeah.
Is 2024 realistic, or do we need to look further into the future?
At the moment, we believe 2024 is realistic. The concern is if you take 2 years off, you might just lose everybody.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks
Dan.
very much. The next is MAYTT, the usurper. 6, are you able to find this person?
Yep.
Hey, yeah, that's me.
Okay.
It's my nickname I put on my Folk Fest tag. Yeah, I just asked, I put in the question, it really wasn't something that needed to be addressed, but like in Amazon, I donate to the Cancer Society, and I was wondering if you guys were able to create one so everybody could donate their Amazon stuff to PFS.
Yeah, I'm gonna interrupt you. I think that's a great idea. Unfortunately, Amazon Smile closed, will close on February 20th. They are directing their philanthropic endeavors in a different direction. So that's
we had that, Matt or mate or usurper. That was the thing, Philadelphia Folk Song Society, and every one of my ridiculous Amazon purchases that my wife loves to razz me about sent a little bit of money to PFS, but Amazon is making it go away because
I would have, I didn't know that. I would have also.
It was a really good idea. It's
Thank
not your
you.
fault they closed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Tony and Veronica, I'm hoping that you heard Kimberly's suggestion of filling out the form. They would like to, they just need to know what they can do to help: website, finance, marketing, etc. We're capable members. And is the takeaway to start a GoFundMe?
To start a GoFundMe, but you need to talk amongst yourselves about it. It's not just Joe Smith starts a GoFundMe in his name and it goes to his bank account and then it sends it over here. It has to be through one of the nonprofit donation arms of GoFundMe or PayPal or something else. So someone needs to do a little research and talk amongst yourselves.
Tony and Veronica, you still have a couple of minutes. Are you there?
Hey, thank you. I just wanted to clarify the plan here.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
see this, buddy.
Great. Thank you. Jan. Jan, I don't have a last name for you. She said that she has ideas to share, but not sure if this is the preferred format. You certainly have a couple minutes to share some ideas if you're there.
Hello.
There you go.
How are you? Thank you very much for having the meeting. Thank you for the transparency. I think it's been sorely lacking for years. And I hope that this is indicative that we're going to be able to, pull together as a group and move forward. I have been a musician. I know lots of everybody else here also too, most of our lives. When our friends are sick or on the verge of death, as is the case potentially now, we throw benefits. Is there a way to get a list? I know you guys currently can't do it, because of the cease and desist thing that you're working through. Is there a way to get access to some of the talent that has played at the festival many, many times and always get up on stage and say how much they love playing for Philadelphia Folk Fest? And perhaps even during the weekend that Fest would be, have benefit concerts going concurrently or staggered over the weekend, say at the Keswick, at Ardmore, at World Cafe Live, at Sellersville Theater, and have different types of music like the 4 stages would be that people can go to, and all the money goes to PFS, and to get maybe venues to at least cut their price, if not donate it, because all of those venues benefit greatly from PFS members and Folk Song Society events. They also rake in a lot of cash from people that have been avid Fest supporters for years to try and work out
the issue here. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jen.
It may not be something that you can do immediately, but once the moratorium is lifted on you soliciting funds, it'd be a lot easier, obviously. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, has anybody started to pull things together to create a business plan that could be presented for grant writing and for state funding? Specifically, I have a friend who's involved with Pennsylvania government, and I asked him some advice. And he said the Pennsylvania Board of Tourism would be a really fantastic source for PFS to get money, or for the fest itself. But you need to have a business plan to show how, once the ship is righted, the organization can move forward in a profit, not for profit kind of way, that it is something that is sustainable and will be able to generate enough funds to keep itself going, not just, give me $500,000 and I'm going to blow it and die. So there are a lot of different grants out there. And I know Anne, who's on the call, as well as I'm sure many other people, know how to, appropriately write grants. And does that fall under the soliciting funds that you're not able to do right now? Or is that different than soliciting? I know it's a multi-pronged question, but my brain's been going every time.
Jan, I'm so sorry to have to cut you off, but I want to give Wendy a chance to respond before we move on.
So we don't have a lot of time. So number one, in terms of all of these ideas are excellent. We do not have enough money to rent the Keswick, rent the Ardmore Music Hall, rent anywhere. We have nothing.
I'm just wondering if they could donate it.
These are things that can be looked at.
Yep.
Okay.
Right, but not now. I can tell you right now, from what I've seen, not right now. In the future, possibly, to help build up a reserve and funds. But unfortunately, this is not something that's going to sustain us. So maybe as a one-time thing, maybe. But right now, every day has a new bill. Every day has a new finding. And we literally have to stop drowning first, and then we can do this. And that's why we want to have more of these meetings, like another one in a month or whatever, to talk about what we've done. But right
Wendy,
now,
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to cut you off. Shannon is asking again, 6, is there anything you can do to have the captioning turned on? She is saying you need to enable it as the host before individuals would then have a button that they could turn on themselves. I'm sorry, Shannon, I'm not able to do that, but 6 maybe. So he's going to work on that.
What am I looking for?
She said you need to enable it as the host. And once that happens, then individuals can click on a button to turn it on for themselves.
I believe
don't know where that button is.
I believe it's called closed captioning in this program.
Probably under audio, maybe.
it may also be under accessibility.
Ah, there we go. So you'd have to get out and get into your Zoom account to set that. And you may not be able to do that while you're running a meeting.
We're going to lose this whole thing.
Yeah, we don't
Right. My apologies.
And we're right.
Yeah. So folks that really needed the transcription, I'm sorry, we did try. I apologize. We are recording this and we'll post it, and we're going to really make sure that when we post it, we've got the transcription turned on, if indeed we can do it, so that you can at
Yes.
least review
Right.
and see it.
Kim has a brief comment.
Yeah, we can download the chat and use that as the transcript after this. So we'll do that. 6, okay? We'll download the chat.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
chat is being recorded.
James Manley, are you there? James Manley. James?
Hey, yeah, sorry. I got a baby, so you can just ask for me. Sorry.
Okay, great. James would like to know if the information will be posted, that is being posted to Facebook, will it be available elsewhere? Like on a web page, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So here's this has come up a couple of times, and a few people have mailed me, and believe it or not, there are people out there that are part of our community that do not use Facebook. And they have been finding out about this and sort of shell-shocked because they're like, nobody told me. And the reality is that we did not have access to the mail system. Let me be clear, I didn't get into the mail system yet. And so we'll be doing that. And we just got our ability to get onto the web page, and we hope that works and operate that. So things are a little rocky. And we chose Facebook because we said, okay, we can still communicate with a large number of our members this way. So we're really gonna try to make that happen. Kimberly?
Yeah, I also did want to thank everyone for joining that group. The first thing that we did as a board was create a place where everyone could talk together. There were a lot of conversations that were happening about PFS, but unfortunately, or the board rather, but unfortunately not getting to us. So having everyone on that one page, we so appreciate it. I know it's not ideal for everyone, but I just want to thank you all for joining that group and for being so active and so supportive. And I think that was really lovely. So thank you. That will be our primary point until we can get all the other systems up and running.
Great.
Charlotte, go ahead.
Yeah, I also want to mention that this group of people on the board and the finance committee have exchanged hundreds of emails over the last 24 hours trying to get everything together. Imagine the folks on the board started accessing information that they had no access to 8 days ago, just 8 days ago. So short range planning, medium range planning, and long range planning is all going to happen. It's just couldn't happen in the last 8 days. So I appreciate them and everything that they have put into just this presentation here tonight. It's remarkable.
Thank you,
So
Charlotte.
thank you. Yeah, and I am very sorry to have to be the bad cop here, but I do want to let people know that it's a little bit after 8. We have 151 more messages. Again, I will go through them as quickly as possible. I would ask that the board members please keep your comments as brief as possible so that we can move through them pretty quickly. Rob Ryan, are you there? Rob Ryan.
Yes, I am here.
Hi, Rob.
Yes. Hi, how you doing? I guess I was a little confused, Miles, when you talked about the society has a choice between bankruptcy or taking a pause. Can you just explain a little bit about what the difference is between those two and how each might impact the society and FEST?
It's a good question. Well, we haven't talked to a bankruptcy lawyer because it's been 8 days and we've had a whole lot going on. When we look at the amount of debt we are carrying with no regular income, no contracts, no grants, one of the questions we all had amongst ourselves was, do we fold up the tent? Are we done? Has it been since 1957 for the society and this is the year it goes under? And the reason the word bankruptcy came up was because we would have unpaid debts and we would need protection from creditors. We don't want to do that. We don't want the magic that we have created here, the community that has been created, to go away. But to be very simple and dramatic, if we don't pause and say we need to take the pause, it's that or we go belly up. The pause would be to literally rewrite the ship, put it back into dry dock and figure it out so to make it sustainable. One of the concerns that, a lot of people have thrown ideas at me about, what if you do this for the summer? What about this? What if we raise money between now and August? And the problem is that you don't need the money in August. You need the money now to book places, especially places that don't have a relationship with us.
Miles, I'm going to ask you to wrap it up, please.
Yep. That's it.
I'm probably going to get in trouble later.
Thanks for that.
That's it, Rob. I don't, in other words, I haven't really looked at it. I just don't see any other way.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate that.
I'd like to go on to Amy Yaris, who has some great ideas that she has said in the chat that they can be part of a smaller conversation. Amy, I suggest that you reach out to either Miles or Wendy or Kimberly or any of the board members. She would like to talk about PFS promoting shows at Grace Ferry Triangle. They have a budget to pay local acts every Thursday. They have a budget for a larger day-long festival in May. Not a lot of money, but she would love to brainstorm and possibly partner to do some fundraising. So that is great. So Amy, if you could reach out to those, that is fantastic. Okay, the next is Michael Lazarus. Michael?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. So I'll start with, I know the Herculean effort that the 5 of you are putting in, and don't envy you. So I do appreciate the efforts, and I don't even know how to summarize all the questions I have. So I think, the granular stuff can't really be taken care of in this forum. I was going to ask about when we knew about all this debt, who knew, who was on the board, but maybe we can explore that at a later time. I think the thing I would want Miles to address is the statement that a festival as a fundraiser is unsustainable. And I think that as a fundraiser, as a 6-year board member and 46-mile-a-year volunteer, et cetera, I don't think that that's a foregone conclusion. I think that there's been a lot of issues with the way that we manage the society and the festival and the way that we manage finances, and there's a lot of questions to be asked. And so I think that it's quite possible to run a profitable music festival, because there are a lot of them out there, and we may need to in some way change the model, I think, and refer to sponsorships. I don't think they've ever been banned. We've had them before. Martin Guitar gave us $3 million. So and I, when I was a board member, brought Subaru to the table as a sponsor. We didn't follow through. So I guess I would just wish that you would change the message, Miles, a little bit. Maybe you can address that for a minute. It's not unsustainable. The way that we executed it, I don't think the model is bad. I think the execution is bad.
Thank you, Michael. I will say that our when I say the model, I mean the one we're using.
Okay.
Our model that we've used forever, and frankly is the only big festival model I know. Let's David Smith, the mute, please.
Do I get one last, response or comment, or am I done?
Got about 45 seconds. Go ahead.
Right. So I'm not sure that it's the model. I think there's a lot of issues that have happened, and we all don't need to drag that out here. I think that we can run a festival with money combined with the other things that we're not effective at to date, in terms of sponsorship, in terms of proper budgeting, et cetera, et cetera. I'll shut up. And I do appreciate the effort of the 5 of you. Engage with those of us that are wanting to move forward in a positive way. Bye.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. The next is from Carl Zuckerman, who has asked me to read it. Carl is asking, will there be any consideration of increasing the size of the board, maybe restoring it to the larger number of working members it used to be before the big bylaw revision?
Yes, because at the moment, the reason there are 5 here is because that's the minimum number we can have by the bylaws. We started 2022 with 8. And we need to get back to 8, and then we need to have the official vote and decision on how to expand the board. And so, yeah, the larger your board, sometimes the healthier your organization is. So.
Okay, great, thank you. Joyce Moore, are you there? Joyce Moore?
Saw Joyce earlier.
Yes.
Thank you, Joyce. Could you ask your question,
Yes.
please?
Yeah, my question was, I was the audit chair when I was on the board in 2019. And the last audit was done under my, well, sort of under my supervision. I'm interested in knowing when the last audit was done. I'm also interested in knowing where we stand with 990s. I'm worried about both very much.
The current audit that's into our auditors is 2020. And we actually have a meeting with them. We're trying to organize a herdings of the cat telephone call. And George, do you want to speak to any more of that? I don't know that you have any more knowledge than I do, except that you've been looking at it.
I have nothing more. We have to get a conference call together with the people that should be involved with the audit. We did not have, my opinion, the right individual working the task. Now we have the finance committee as well as the executive committee of the board working on this.
No, I don't know if I should add to that. But,
Go ahead, Jim.
When the pandemic hit, the organization, now my phone rings after all that. When we had the pandemic, the auditors that we had folded, and they did not survive the pandemic, so we had to make some switches. We, as Miles has said, there's been communication with them, and so we're going to be talking with them and getting this thing done, because the 2020 audit is the speed bump preventing us from moving forward with the state.
Great, thank you. On to Lori Weingartner. Are you there, Lori?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so I had 2 questions. One is, does the $200,000 include the $100,000 line of credit? So is it 200 or is it 300, I guess is what I'm saying? The debt?
The answer is yes. It includes the.
Yes,
it includes
good.
the-
Okay, so 200,000 is what we know right now for debt.
Yes, and it keeps sneaking up on us out of little mouse holes.
Oh, I believe it. My other question is, if we did want to do a fundraiser of some kind, should we wait and renew our membership after we do the fundraiser because of the donation problem, or does it matter?
Believe me, we have fundraisers in the office.
Oh, no, I'm talking, we'll do one separate.
I understand, Lori. I'm sorry to jump in there. But we have dreams of lots of fundraisers. Miles is all over that. But we have to get this little glitch stop. As he said, you can send us a check anytime.
Okay, so
upgrade your membership.
The easiest way for us to receive money and the most legal way for us to receive money is for people to go into their memberships. Either renew your membership, increase your membership, join for the first time, whatever you want to do. Membership, and it goes right to our bank account. So.
And membership is not restricted. It's not considered charitable solicitation because we're a membership organization. It's standard business.
Okay.
Thank you, Lori.
Okay, Ron Ozer, or Ozer, I apologize. Ron Ozer, are you there?
Yeah, I was just asking if we know how many paid full price tickets were sold for the festival last year.
We do have that number. We can give it to you, but we don't know the categories of the tickets. We just know how many tickets were sold.
Jim, I have an update for you as of this afternoon. I spoke to our ticketing company today, and they are sending me an entire accounting of all the tickets that were sold. The tickets that were sold, I forget what they call them, but it's just shy of 13,000 for 2023, but that doesn't include volunteers or staff or anyone else on the grounds that was paid. But we will have a full accounting of that. He's going to get it to me. He's trying to get it to me by Friday.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Great. The next question is from Trip, and Trip, I think this question is no longer applicable. You're asking about weekend tickets sold at half price for Saturday and Sunday with camping. Given the other topics, we are not even considering that.
Yeah.
So then
In a good year.
yeah. Let's see. So next is Stephanie Wigand, and I apologize for people's names. Stephanie, are you there?
I am. I didn't have a direct question though. I need to schedule a meeting with the board directly. I'm the chairman of purchasing, and I can help with some of these Midwood and 26 charges because yeah, I can help.
Great. Dale, I believe the question has already been answered. Thank you very much. Bree, are you there? Bree Brees.
Yes, I'm here. You could have just read my question. That would have been okay.
All right, I can do that
it's
now.
okay.
Okay.
I just have a question, and one, I want to thank you guys for this meeting. I think it was really important. I really wish that we had it many years ago and every year since. But I guess my concern is, everybody's saying, you could just send us a check. You can just upgrade your membership. But, my money's dear to me. I don't want to just throw my money. And some of you have been on the board for a number of years. Why, just explain and tell us how things are going to be done differently, that why I should, trust you guys with my money.
I've been on longer than anybody else, I think. So let me say to you that we have tried to break the model, as Miles was saying. We've tried to break the model of paying for the next festival by selling tickets, paying for the past festival by selling tickets to the next festival. And that's been going on, I think, for maybe 15 or 20 years. And we never could figure it out until we kind of got backed up to the wall with this bankruptcy situation. Oh, I lost it. I lost my connection.
No, you're there.
No, you're good. You're good. Thank you.
We can see. Look at the Zoom on the bottom. There's a little icon.
There's no Zoom. It's a white screen.
Oh, crap. We can hear you and see you.
We can hear you, Jim.
At any
We can
rate,
hear you.
we have not been naive about this, but we never found a way. Now we're backed into a corner, and we must find a way, and we will, with your help. And I am so excited about this meeting myself that I never dreamed of us having a meeting like this.
To answer your question about why should you trust us, the 5 people on the board and our associates who have been working really, really hard could have easily walked away and said, I'm done. I'm done. And we're here without a lot of sleep, and I don't have a stomach lining. And we love the festival. We love PFS, and you don't have to trust us, but we're trying our best for this thing that we love. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Miles.
Just so you know, I want to trust you very much, and I'm very hopeful for everything that is coming forward. I just want to make it clear that, people, a lot of us work, really hard for our money, and we don't want to lose it. That's all.
Agreed, as do we. Thank you.
Anne?
Great. Yes,
at this point, for expedience, I think it'd be better if you just read the question,
Okay.
tell us who it's from and read the question.
I'm
and
happy to
just-
do that. I'm happy to do that. Larry Gosson wants to know, is there an address that we can send a check? Will we pivot soon to some kind of event?
Yes, Larry, the address is 6156 Ridge Avenue, Philadelphia, 19128. I'll say it again, 6156 Ridge Avenue, Philadelphia, 19128. We will be at that address through May, and then we will update you well beforehand about where mail can be sent after that.
Great, thank you.
But let's be clear, we're not soliciting donations.
Right, that was just sharing of the address.
That's the address.
Tony Rossamano would like to know who's in charge of renewing the license.
Do you mean the BCO, the Bureau of
assuming.
Charitable Organizations? Yes.
Let's go with that.
At the moment, that seems to be something we are all looking at. I've been spearheading that for now, but now I have to kick it back to the Finance Committee because we have to produce 2021 financials.
Great. Thank you. Doug Hurt wants to know with the GoFundMe thing, my wife is not a member. Would her being my wife be a conflict if we started a GoFundMe for the parking committee? I am a chair and asking for the committee.
I don't know that we should have it.
We cannot give that advice. Legally.
We can't give that advice.
We cannot give that advice.
I will say that starting a GoFundMe for a committee is probably not the best idea because we need a GoFundMe for the festival expenses.
No, we need a GoFundMe for the
Okay,
society.
we're now
The
soliciting,
society.
okay? We're now soliciting. We can't do that.
No
You have to make your own decisions about if you want to give money, how you want to give money. We're not asking you to do anything because we can't. We can't lose this the registration, which we still don't have.
Great. Thank you, Charlotte, for the clarification. Steve Ram comments, I hope the question regarding the lease on the farm this year will be paid will be paid or not, and how it affects the owners.
I can address that.
Go ahead, Jim.
I had a wonderful talk with Kevin O'Donnell from the township where we hold the festival. And I heard also from Justin before he left that while that was the price for the entire fest as we've known it, we could probably, if we come up with a plan for a right-sized festival, renegotiate with the Godshalls.
Great, thank you. Kyle would like to know what implications would there be for filing bankruptcy?
I don't know yet, Kyle, because we haven't talked to a bankruptcy lawyer because we're trying not to think that way. We're trying to think about rising from the ashes as a phoenix. That's a discussion we're going to have and somebody we're going to have to talk to. So I don't know yet.
Okay. Thank you. Margaret Hubbard, two questions. Can we do a hybrid of the two options? File for bankruptcy, then restructure?
Don't know.
Okay. The second question is, why weren't we informed of the threats to the fest in 2022? And what was the nature of the threats? Kim has her hand up. Miles, Kim has her hand up.
Kimberly.
They were 2 letters mailed specifically to the society pretending to be the Proud Boys. We know this because we turned them immediately over to the local police, who bumped us all the way up through Homeland Security to something that I didn't know existed, which is called the Fusion Center, which is where they all discuss. This happened, I believe, roughly 2 weeks before Fest. So all of us were spending our time running up to Fest dealing with this. I can share my screen and show you all the actual letters, but they were deadly serious.
The reason we were under advice from, I'm sorry, Kimberly, what?
No, I said thank you. That's the one thing I forgot to say. Go.
We were under advice from not only legal experts, but law enforcement to not mention this to the membership, because what this does in threat land is it prompts copycats. And we were really struck with, do we tell our people there's a risk? And, you know, Homeland Security is like, our experience is when you tell people, all sorts of other things happen, copycat risks come up, and some of those people actually have often been the ones to try to enact violence. So it was a really, really, really awful spot to be in.
Okay, Dennis Sadler Jr. says he has 20 plus years in nonprofit management and would be happy to speak with leadership about ideas for moving forward. I'm Kathy Godshall's husband, and the FES has been her family for over 50 years, and he would love to help. Dennis, I hope you will fill out the form that will be on Facebook, and then once the website is accessible, on the website. Dan Samuels asked the question, if a donor came tomorrow and said, I'll relieve your debt, I'll seed money for 5 years of operations of the festival, would the process be, what would be the process to create a plan?
Well, because we have
I have to be honest with you. I don't think that this question can realistically be answered.
Yeah.
We don't have anything like that in the pipeline. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, but like, that's not something we can answer right now.
I mean, if somebody were to do that, we would plan, but
it would have to be vetted completely. I agree with Wendy.
Exactly. R.S. Wallace asks, can relationships with fencing or security companies be fostered so part or all of services can be donated? And just thinking of some new big ticket items and how they might be tackled in addition to measures for rebuilding. Thank you.
probably some degree of negotiation. We didn't have the time frame for it last summer. My guess is that you might get a reduced cost on material like fences. Live security guards, harder to get reduced prices on because the agencies have to pay those people, but it's worth looking at. Thank you.
Nate is curious if there's an opportunity to file a claim on liability insurance, errors and omissions of officers for missing the deadline to file for nonprofit status.
Yes. Whoops.
Okay, thank you. Naomi Vernon, she wants to ask, surely there must be some emergency relief fund for arts and that are nonprofit organizations.
Not for this.
Not really. I mean, this is our mess. We made it. You know, if a tornado came through and blew apart the farm, but it's a different thing. But thank you for thinking that way.
Okay. Danielle's making the comment, why are you not utilizing the resources in the neighborhood to gain income? There are numerous new apartments going up in Roxborough neighborhood, which will create more people coming into the venue. This will create more revenue for the Folk Song Society. Keeping the building will help in the long run. Having the current board at shows and various events will help the society as a whole. I frequent the building for over 3 years now, and I've only seen one board member actively helping. If the board was more physically present, this would help administration checks and balances. Other than putting everything on hold for the bottom line, what will the board, sorry. What will the board be doing? Wait, just jumped all over the place. 1 second, my apologies. Here we go. Other than putting everything on pause for the bottom line, what will the board be contributing to help maintain the building and the function of the society?
Wendy, did you want to go?
I do. Again, we don't have the money to even pay the rent.
Which is going up to $1,900 starting in June.
Correct. Concerts are not making money. People are not attending them. There have been significant structural deficiencies in the venue that have caused damage, we cannot continue to work out of this venue.
It would be
Sorry,
nice.
That's just the way it is.
If we had more of a cushion, we could say, yes, there are more people moving into Roxborough. Let's work on attracting them to our venue. But there's no guarantee that those people would come and spend time at our venue. And at the moment, the ship is sinking with a very large hole in it. So under different circumstances, those would be great suggestions, and thank you for those.
Josh Rosenberg asked, do we know what information led to Justin's announcement at the Folk Fest last summer that the future of Fest was assured financially? Was it based on bad information, or did something change in the last 6 months?
Bad information.
I don't know.
I have no idea what caused that. Justin's unfailing enthusiasm and optimism, because at the point he made that statement, there was no evidence to support.
Right. I think it was excitedness and hopefulness, but I don't know, and I'm not going to speak for somebody who's not here. So we just have to move on to the future and not worry about something that was said last August.
Okay. The status of the 990s has been answered. Kevin Kelly asked, what was the original plan to pay off these outstanding debts? Outstanding debts outstanding debts. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me start again. What was the original plan to pay off these outstanding debts, the pre-sale for 2023 festival, as the plan was in the past?
I think the original plan was to keep going because we were on this cycle of wash, rinse, repeat. Put tickets on sale and then use that money to pay off past debts.
Okay. Danielle asked, what are your plans for the David Crosby guitar?
We're working on that.
Okay, and do you know where the guitar is located?
We're working on that.
Okay. Steve Ram would like to know if we can have an honest update on the status of the 2020 and 21 audits, and is there an audit committee?
As I've said before several times in this meeting, Steve, the 21 audit is not being done. 20 is what is being done. And as soon as we meet with the auditors in the next several days, we'll have a sense of where we are with that.
Can I just ask if there's an audit committee? I still don't have that answer.
There is an audit committee at the moment. It is Kimberly and who else is helping on audit? Kimberly and not Jim because he's the treasurer.
George, was George?
George.
Okay.
Not a full committee, Steve. Not
Okay,
a full
I'm
committee.
still volunteering if you want. and
Okay, thank you.
some CPAs here.
Thank you, buddy.
Gail Smith Gozer would like to know what happens with our agreement with the family that owns the property. I'm assuming she means Fest.
The Godshalls. We are on a year-to-year contract with using a year-to-year lease of the property. Years ago, there was discussion floating around that we had some kind of like multi-year thing, and there may have been, but we are now on a year-to-year contract, and it would cost us $35,000 just to rent the farm this year.
It would cost us $35,000 if we wanted to have the same fest this year. I reiterate what I said before. If we downsize, we might be able to renegotiate with the Godshalls.
Yeah, real quick, if I can jump in, we have the contract, and I will also add that there are 42 all access passes that go along with that 35,000. So if you add all of that up, that is a significant amount of money. So Wendy and I came up with, I think it was roughly $52,000 for us to walk onto the farm. Whether we stay there 1 minute, 1 week, doesn't matter. That is our opening price point to use the farm.
I thank you.
I should like to add.
Could we lose that?
Well, I would like to add that one of the things on the agenda is to meet with the Godshells and discuss the contract with the possibilities of there being an option to hold the contract over the course of a year where we don't use the farm. So anything and everything is on the table with regard to the use of the farm. We just haven't started negotiating a contract.
Okay, thank you. Kevin Dotterman asked, I filled out a survey 2 years ago after the virtual fest, and some questions were regarding what would attract me to come to fest, like specific performers. I replied saying that I don't go to fest for any particular artist, I go for the folk. I think it ought to remain a fundraiser. Anyway, do you recall what the other replies said? I imagine that paying big time talent is a large part of the cost to put the show on. What did this survey suggest?
I was on the board at that time. I don't recall getting any information about the results of the survey. I may be incorrect, but I do not recall it. And just of note, the talent for 2022, the budget was less than it was in 2019, just of note.
But the budget was overrun by $100,000.
The artist
Not
budget was
talent
less
budget.
than 2019. Yeah.
Mortimer Sansom asks, are there current board members who were on the board the last few years? If so, why is the financial situation a surprise to them?
That's me.
I just got here in 2021. Wendy got here 3 weeks ago. George came in after me. Miles came in with George.
That's a year ago.
That was a year ago.
On this.
And yeah, Jim, so, you know, honestly.
Not a surprise. We've known the situation for a long time. And we've understood that the model of doing all of this was broken. And we were led by somebody who believed that that model could be sustained. And it wasn't sustainable. And so we understood what was going on, and we understood that we were paying last year's debts with this year's money. But there was no way for us to stop that train until now, because we have the board that wants to do that, and we have the will to do it.
Well, I just want to ask a little follow-up. I'll be real quick. It seems that I reviewed the taxes from 2012 to 2019. It seems that the accounting firm has changed numerous times. That's usually a big red flag, is that the accounting firm didn't want to work with us anymore. It's not like you made one change. I think there's been 4 or 5 changes in 9 years. So I was wondering if anybody could address that.
We had your YPTC, your
part-time accountant.
Your part-time accountant for years. And they did that work for us.
Okay, in the 2012 to 2019, so that's 9 years, I believe.
Yes.
There are at least 4 different firms that have filed the tax return.
Well, you get
Your part-time controller is not a CPA firm.
They're not a CPA firm. They're not somebody who file your tax returns.
So I'm assuming that possibly what we're looking at is the auditing firm. And I don't know that the auditors, I know that the one we are having now, there was a change, somebody left, we had to change firms because one of them closed during pandemic. I can't speak to the time before that.
Well, right. Yeah,
The present auditing firm, we just brought them on board, what, a year ago?
Something
Is
like
that
that.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're brand new to us.
Your point that it's possibly a red flag about our agency, maybe, but I don't know that we can move forward or do anything about that information now.
Okay.
But thank you.
Yes, Drew Suttle has several questions, but he very nicely combined them all to be asked the question, how committed are we to non-fest activities? And if the answer is, we'll get back to you, I can live with that, mostly trying to represent the point of view.
I think that one of the biggest problems we have is that the Folk Song Society has a lot of stuff it does, and the thing we're most famous for is the Folk Festival. And the thing that, to be honest, most of everybody is involved for is the Folk Festival. I knew about the Folk Song Society my entire life. I went to concerts, Folk Song Society concerts as a kid. But it wasn't until I started going to the festival as an adult that it was like, wow, this is so, the festival is part of the Folk Song Society. And in rebuilding both of them, we have to rebuild the society's activities as well. And right now, there are a whole bunch of things that were going on that are wonderful. The problem is we don't have the cash to operate.
Ben.
Yeah, I guess I was
asked-
really just calling out that they exist. I want to make sure that a lot of members who don't know about them know they're there. And I want to give you guys the opportunity as life goes on to address that. And I realize sitting here listening that it is very much a funding thing. And yeah, but sobbing for that as opposed to jettisoning them all.
We don't want to jettison programs. We don't want to jettison stuff that's good. We don't want to not have the festival, but we also don't want it to die. So we don't want PFS to die either.
We don't want
Gotcha.
to focus on education and perpetuating playing music.
So that's a good segue, Jim, to an earlier question, and I'm sorry, when I was trying to get the chat under control, I missed it. Is how are people who are currently signed up for lessons going to be handled? How will that be handled?
I don't know yet. If you're signed up for lessons, email me at mthompsonpfs.org, at pfs.org.
Great.
I don't know.
Okay. Andrea asked, would throwing a smaller music festival and donating those proceeds to PFS be an acceptable form of donating?
Well, we can't solicit for you to do that.
You guys already answered this. I'm good.
Oh, it's Andrea
Sorry,
Negrello.
we
All
can't
right.
make that happen. We can't
Yeah.
do it, not
Okay.
this year.
Yeah, thanks,
The
thanks, Andrea.
Next question is more of a statement or a plea. I fully understand and appreciate that this board of directors did not create the position that PFS or PFF is currently in. I personally in no way blame them, but I think it would do a lot of goodwill for the board to acknowledge that the trust has been broken by the previous, board, as it was how difficult it was to work with. I just can't.
I think we get
I think it would be it would do a lot of goodwill for the board to acknowledge the trust that was broken by the previous ED, as well as how difficult it was to work with.
Wendy?
Okay, so you know that we have to be judicious in what we say here. But what I'm going to tell you is the reason that my statement specifically ran on financial transparency is, as a paying camper since 1986, I understand the lack of trust. I get it. And I understand the lack of transparency and the lack of communication. And that is precisely what we are fixing right now. And that's why we're doing this. So I'll tell you more to come, but there's not going to be any hiding going forward. Nothing like that.
Okay, great.
Let me just add that that's why we're here, and we hope that we can continue to grow your trust. We know it's broken, and I think the best way is that we're going to just keep showing up and sharing with you what the hell's going on.
And there's nothing to be gained by denigrating former boards. We could go back 30 years in that.
I will also add real quick, I'm a communications expert. This is my job. It's my day job. And so my hashtag for this entire thing is sunshine policy. To Wendy's point, everything is now out in the open. It's what I've been saying. It's my personal mantra. So in order for me to be able to live with myself, I have to be able to share with everyone here.
Anne?
Yes, 6.
Just want to make you aware, it's 8:45.
I am aware. We're going to get through as many as we can. And if we unfortunately do not get to your question tonight, as Miles said, there will be more meetings, there will be more communication, which very well might address your questions. There'll be many more opportunities. My hope is that we are touching on enough topics that hopefully the majority of people will get at least some answer to something that they're interested in. An earlier question about the insurance is just a question about what is the price of insurance. I'm assuming that you mean for festival. So I don't know if a board member can address that.
If I can get back into my computer.
I'll tell you what, let's move on while you're doing that. And Jim, you let me know if you have the answer.
I will.
Mac would like to know, will changes to FES be put to a vote among members or just the board?
We are a representative democracy, which is that the board is voted to make those decisions. So I don't know that if we voted on everything that we could get anything done with everybody. On the other hand, we are going to be involving people in discussions. We're going to create subcommittees. We want your input so that when votes are taken, they're taken with as much input from the community as we can get.
Okay, Julie, I would like to know, why are we paying a bill to the IRS as we are a 501c3?
Because those are payroll taxes, and it doesn't matter if you're a nonprofit, you have to pay payroll taxes.
There you go.
Those
Nolan,
are payroll taxes for January.
Right, Nolan, the first part of your question has been answered. The second part is, has anyone shown any interest in taking over the Ridge Avenue venue?
Not our concern. It is managed by a property management company. They just last week were like, hey, your lease is up. What do you want to do? And once we told them we were not interested in continuing, they said, okay, we're going to come in and show the place periodically. It's out of our hands.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nate would like to know what the board plans are for restructuring. I don't think we know that yet.
No, I have no idea yet. Nate.
I was going to say.
Thank
More
you, though. It's a good
information to
question.
come. Kyle, how does the cancellation affect relation and agreement with the Gottschalks? That's been addressed.
We're still working that out.
Jason is asking, he knows that some people, the festival is the only concern, but he wonders about participatory activities like the folk school, music getaways, and the co-op. Will the PFS focus in the future on more grassroots music activities like these that build folk community and audience?
I want to.
Right, absolutely. Okay, can suggestions be posted and upvoted among members? I think that question was answered as well. Just a comment, spring thing attendance may increase since people may choose to attend that in the absence of fest. That's just a comment. Ben would like to know if there are open board positions.
There are. What happens now is that these are positions that are there because people left, resigned, or resigned from the board. And so we have 5 people on the board now. We have a board of 8, so we have some additional positions. What happens, the procedure is that at this point, those terms may be filled. Those terms of people that left may be filled by board appointed. The board can appoint members. Once the term is over, so when Matt Diamondstone's term that we were having to fill is when his term would have been over, the person who was appointed would have to run for re-election, a popular election, or would have to step down.
There is a question that is somewhat of a follow-up about our lease on the farm. Does our lease on the farm require that we pay real estate tax even if we don't hold the festival? And if so, how much is that tax bill?
That used to be something we did for the Gottschalks. It was in lieu of payment or with reduced payment. We paid their real estate tax, but we got out of that a couple of years ago because real estate tax in Montgomery County has gone through the roof. It was fine when it was a rural area and the real estate was cheap. It actually worked to our advantage. We are no longer in that, so it's not like the Gottschalks are not going to have their taxes paid by us and they'll be high and dry. That was something they were going to have to do anyway.
And I can
Okay.
answer the insurance question.
Insurance.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well,
Jim Klingler is currently the treasurer. I was asked to make sure that everybody understands what position you all hold with the board.
I'm the treasurer. And we had budgeted $12,000 for insurance last year, which was what we had paid the previous year. That's insurance for the festival. This year, it was raised because of the letter and the threats that we had to do, and the guards and the fencing around the whole thing. It was raised to $22,000. And so we broke the budget on that.
Yeah.
Great.
There was another, if I may, there was another insurance thing that is just worth noting, as it may be always in the future. The previous insurer would not cover us because they wouldn't cover a festival with camping because of COVID. And I suspect that concerns about that, just like concerns about safety, will not go away.
Great. Daniela would like to know, is the Talus concert still happening?
Yes.
I think that's been answered.
And buy tickets,
We
buy tickets,
really
buy
encourage
tickets.
people to buy.
If there is a chance that if we sell all the tickets, we can make money off this. So if you want to help us in a really fun, immediate way, buy your tickets to Talus at the Ardmore Music Hall, co-produced by the Philadelphia Folk Song Society.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat. It's February 19th. After we pay the band and pay the Ardmore, all of those funds will come to the society.
Kimberly,
Okay.
suggest that you post that in the group because the chat is tremendously long and it'd be much easier just to be able to read it.
And
off
not
the
everybody can
page.
see the chat. Only
Yeah.
the host and co-host can see the chat. Charlie is asking, is someone coordinating volunteers? I'm not sure volunteers for what. Charlie, if you're there and can speak very quickly about clarify your questions.
Yeah, I was just, here I am at the front porch, by the way.
Hi, Charlie.
All right, yeah, no, I think Wendy is looking for volunteers. So yeah, that question was sort of answered, but we have a wealth of people who are willing to volunteer, and hopefully they'll be utilized. That's it.
And thank you, Charlie. And I want to say Charlie has been volunteering as our payroll specialist, and we love him forever for that. Thank you, my friend.
Right. There's lots of people who are asking a question if you need volunteers. Hopefully, you have gotten that. Kimberly's creating, for those of you who are maybe late, came in later, Kimberly is creating a Google form that she's asking people to fill out so that the board can get back to you. Rob is mentioning to restate the importance of membership upgrading. It can be done no matter whether or not you just renewed. He is the one who tested it and found out that it worked pretty well.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, so we've gotten that. That's an let's see, just Talus. Kat Tompkins says her son Ryan Sposs wanted to start a GoFundMe last night. I asked him to hold off until this meeting was held. If everyone is okay with it, he will have it set up tonight. He is not affiliated at all with PFS. I think that is something that this group cannot, with board members here, cannot suggest that he do or not do it. Correct?
Just he should do his homework. That's all.
Okay.
And you cannot post the link to that on the official page.
Right. And you can't do it if you're an official professional fundraiser.
Shoshana suggested that perhaps the archives could be a possible revenue source. Let's see.
No, unfortunately, not until we have the payments that are in arrears, which are almost $8,000 paid. We cannot use them.
There's more to it than that. When we started showing, many of you have enjoyed some of the archival access that we've had, particularly when we're doing online things. We got some pushback from some of the artists that if we showed their stuff, we had to pay them royalties.
Royalties.
And
Many of the artists donated to us, donated footage, because at the time we said this would only be for archives and would not be anything that generated money, because if it generated money, they as artists were entitled to royalties. And so people signed on with that expectation.
our experts in archives kind of know when that dividing line was. And so we've been trying to concentrate on archives that were after that. But for example, Janice Ian got after us for showing something that she had some of her performance.
And she had not authorized us to use it in that way.
Not authorized us. Now our contracts read that way, that we are authorized to use it.
Yeah.
But back when she did that, it wasn't.
Okay, all the rest of these have been answered. I'm scrolling down. There are questions about, Ryan has some specific suggestions about running Fest. Ryan, given the time constraints, I'm going to ask that you contact the board with that. There is a question about let's see, who is this? This is Dennis Sadler. He is asking, you're all speaking as if decisions have already been made. How much flexibility is there at this point?
Well, we have no cash. So that makes the decision for us.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Ryan Claypool suggests that to someone who's been in Two Fest in some capacity for 30 years, can we partner with Philly Bluegrass nonprofit? Similar to the sponsorship ideas, which could be beneficial. Thank you to the board.
It's worth looking at. Thank you.
Okay, there's a suggestion we can't make, but that's, there's a question about whether or not a memorial could be had at the farm for, here we go, sorry, it just went out. For Ellen, and if so, in the early days, let's see, is it possible, that was just a question. Is it possible for a memorial service to be held on the grounds for Ellen Superfine? I don't think that's a question the board is able to ask.
Well, the reality there is that if we had the contract to operate the farm for the summer, then we could talk about that, but we don't have that. So that would have to go directly to the landowners.
Okay, let's see. The next is, what is the next milestone in this process for the society?
Not declaring bankruptcy. That's literally our next milestone, honestly. And then trying to figure out what we can pay, what we can't pay, and going forward from that. Because we don't want to do that. I'm going to be completely blunt with you guys. That's what it is. What can we do? How can we manage our debts? What can we do from here?
I think another milestone is a meeting like this in a week or two, whenever Miles decides to have it, and what we've learned in the interim and what we can tell you.
Yeah, we actually have an open board meeting in like 2 weeks, so I don't know that we would do it then because that's an actual business meeting, but we can continue the conversation. But then we'll have another community meeting sometime, probably in March.
Okay. So the question from Jeanette and Steve is, will there be any house sings, house concerts with non-paid member performers? There is no cost to these, anything to keep us connected in person.
Probably, it's not been on our the house is burning down and that one's not on fire, but we're considering that. We don't want to lose those, and that's a very good suggestion. So thank you, my friends.
Mm-hmm. The question is, what is the current PFS membership number?
At the end of last month, the middle of last month, maybe, it was about 1,200 people.
Yeah.
I don't know if in the last several days, a whole bunch of you lovely souls have become members and bumped that number up. So we're still figuring out where we are and how easy it is to check on that stuff.
Chloe would like to know, how did the members of the board not have access to any information?
You know, you don't know what you don't know. And so when, for instance, the archive footage bill was like, I'd never heard of that. I didn't know it was there. I didn't, you know. So when that came in, it was like, I had no idea. And the culture we were working under was one of you know, we were all very busy dealing with stuff, and when stuff became financially landed on our plates, we took action. But many of those things are things that are handled at the executive level in a nonprofit organization, and the board wouldn't necessarily know about them. So that is a question. That's a not complete answer, but that's the best I can give you. Unless, Jim, with your age of experience, you want to add something.
No, I don't have anything beyond what you do. There are things that come up as expenses that we on the finance committee usually deal with more what we've taken in, what is our financial position. We don't necessarily get into the minutia of paying bills for storage.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Okay, let's see. These have all been answered. Again, anybody interested in volunteering for any kind of committee or to help should fill out the Google form that Kimberly will put on the site. Let's see.
And I suggest it's not any kind of committee, a PSF board committee.
Right, I'm sorry, that's what I meant. So thank you for the clarification.
Okay.
So there is a question from Avi. What is happening?
Hey, Barry Hazard, you need to mute yourself.
I'm gonna mute Barry. There we go.
You're still unmuted. Barry Hazard, yeah, there you go.
Okay,
no?
okay, sorry.
There we go.
Yes. What is happening to the program already in place at PFS headquarters through May? Will the concert still be moving forward? And who will be the contact person to organize logistics, ticketing, and artist liaison?
We are still working those details out. I'm sorry, I can't give you a better answer than that tonight.
Okay.
Email Aaron. I'll get back to you as soon as we figure something out.
Okay.
Can I make a general comment here? We are delighted, thrilled that so many people want to help and volunteer and step forward. And I can't wait. I wanted a talent bank for years. I've been involved with the fest for about 20 years. I'm the organizer of the Philadelphia Jug Band campsite. So I'm a fester. We want volunteers. Here's the issue. Most everyone on this board has a full-time job. I don't, and I don't think Jim does, but everyone has a full-time job, important jobs. We don't have anybody to coordinate volunteers. There's nobody to supervise volunteers or to call up volunteers. That has to be addressed at some point. And I think if you sign up and you are, the expectation is you're going to hear in the next week, we can't have that expectation because we have to have somebody who can actually put their hands on lists and coordinate it. I think at the emergency stuff, like what's going to happen in the next 4 months with concerts, yes, the board's going to have to take that on, but not the longer range stuff without a professional or somebody there. And I have to say, as a member of the finance committee for the past 4 years, and maybe this is not politically correct, I have repeatedly asked for information and asked questions that I did not get. And some of the information I did not get was because I wasn't willing to be a board member. And I understand that. But as a member of the finance committee with fiduciary responsibility for this organization, I asked for information repeatedly that I did not get. I just wanted to go on record with that. Thank you.
So moving on, also Kimberly, I want to let you know is if you put something in the chat, the only people who see it are the co-host and the host. So we either need to put it on Facebook or some other place, but people are not seeing the links you're posting to the Talus concert, etc. Rob asked that I read the following, that he just renewed his membership for $240. Everyone needs to do so now. That's from Rob.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Rob. Rob Lincoln.
Let's see.
Or whatever level you can give at. As an executive director.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
If you can't do it, $240, if you,
exactly.
if you can do anything you can do, but if you can do more, that'd be great. Those are memberships. Those are memberships, Charlotte. Those are memberships. They're allowed.
A suggestion, we are at 9:04. There's just a couple, hopefully not a whole lot more that hasn't already been addressed, at least briefly. But Aaron had an idea about expanding, fostering, and nurturing our relationships with other national fests and their committees to see if their committees might be willing to help in any way, like Newport, Vancouver, Telluride, etc. Sounds like we need to pool outside resources in order to move forward.
I agree, and if you want to send that to me at mthompson@pfs.org, I will say Vancouver's having trouble, so they're not the people to ask right now. They're very much in the same boat we're in. Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. Michael wants to know, do we still own the name Philadelphia Folk Festival? What would happen if someone had a festival on the grounds not associated with the society?
Well, they'd have to call it Fred's Good Time Jug Band Festival or something, not Philadelphia Folk Festival. I mean, they could, if they wanted to work that up with the Gottschalks for this summer, but you know.
Wendy has a comment really quick.
We still own the name, we still own the phone number, we still own the domain, and we will make sure that we don't lose ownership of those.
Right. So if you want to make your own festival, it ain't easy. It is hard, and it's really expensive.
Okay, we all get that. I'm sorry, hold on.
Jesse would like to know
That
what
was
is
my question. Can I talk for 1 second?
really briefly. Yep.
I'll be brief. So we understand all that, but I do think that there are people that have some fantasies. So are we really protected?
Well, we would have to go dig up and see what we'd have to look into. I believe we are, but we would have to go look into all of that, Michael, but thank you for phrasing it.
Jesse would like to know, what is the process for running for the board, and can it be posted in the Facebook group?
I think the answer is we can post it in the Facebook group.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Still on the name. Sorry, it is locked. James would like Miles to run for president, and yeah.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
unless you mean another president. I don't know.
think that's what he meant. Yeah.
Bless your soul.
Into an agency or still a government.
I'll be your chief of staff.
There.
Is there any plan? Here, let's finish these up. Is there any plan for a new headquarters, or at least an address?
No, because we first got to figure out what the hell we're getting out of the one we're in. We haven't gotten to that part yet.
Okay. So,
I have an address.
Well, lots
of people have addresses.
Yeah.
Will the board meeting scheduled for the 22nd of February still be held with committee reports and financials?
Yes, that'll be a regular board meeting. This is not a board meeting. I said that at the beginning. I'll say it again. Yeah. This is a community meeting. This is not a governance. This is not a make decisions meeting. The meeting on the 22nd is a regular board meeting with committee updates.
Okay. We've already answered that. Oh no, we've already answered that. Sorry. There's a suggestion again to talk to a bankruptcy attorney about restructuring debt. People should be avoiding lots of thank yous. Do we have data and demographics on the members? Are they geographically local to Philly?
Most of them. We could look that up. I don't, it's not, I'm going to tell you, it's not high on my list of fires to put out right now.
Right.
I'm an okay Canadian. I'm not a bad Canadian. I'm a nice Canadian. But I was born and raised in Kentucky, so come on, y'all.
That's right. This is just, I am going to read this from Kimberly, from the township. A memorial bench has been donated in Ellen's honor to be placed in the township park up the street from the farm next to Wolford Road lot. Awaiting word from Adam as to specific location. Hopefully the dedication will take place in late April.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you, whoever
that's a
told us
great
that.
thing. That was Kimberly.
Kevin
Any-
O'Connell from the township. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin O'Donnell. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. It does seem that people are able to see some of your Kim, so that I apologize. I thought that they weren't, so that's good. Donations, we talked about that. And we are actually at the end at 9:09. We are at the end of what had to be over.
My question wasn't asked.
Okay, you want to go ahead, Mara?
Sure. I would like to ask how much Mountain View Staging and or Moxie Productions was paid in 2020 and 2021 to produce the digital festivals. If we're being financially transparent, I'd like to know.
Sure. I don't know that anybody has that offhand tonight.
Right. Sam is here. He's the gentleman from those companies, Sam Bolenbaugh. I'm sure you could approach him.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, Maura. We'll get back to you on that. We'll
Thank
talk
you.
to Sam. We'll look it up. No
Yeah.
worries.
Yeah. So don't know offhand. The moment I don't know where my dog is, and she's right over there. So
I just want to say thank you so much to Six for hosting this and Ann McNiff for being our moderator. Thank you so much for your efforts.
My
thank you.
question wasn't answered either.
Yeah, I have a
You're very
question.
welcome.
I think
Just
it
so
may have
you
been.
know,
hold on.
If questions at all had been answered earlier, or it was explained that they did not have answers, I did not read them aloud again.
Oh, mine was a simple question.
What was that?
I had just asked if people, it was about spring thing. And then
Yeah, we had answered that in the beginning.
No, that was my first question, but then I had another question. That
Okay.
if people were willing to pay extra for spring thing or do extra to make sure that it happened, was it possible that we could make it happen?
Ginger, I don't know. I'm
We can
talking
look
to
into
Ken
it.
Canadensis now, but I don't know. I will post as soon as I know. I would say the chances are not great, but I'll do the best I can.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. Spring thing is, as you know, is very important to a lot of us. Thank you, Wendy.
Can I get in a quick question about the upcoming board meeting, which is, will it be available via Zoom?
Yes, we're doing them all by Zoom because that was a good thing out of the pandemic.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin.
Hey, Miles.
Yeah.
Real quick, Katie May here. Hi.
Hi.
Just a question: is there still a governance committee, or is it just the 5 board members? 'Cause I
No,
haven't
there's
heard
a
anything about
there's a governance committee, but it's pretty much George, because with only 5 members, it's not very big. But George Ergot is in charge of that.
So that's going to be built out again, hopefully. Then.
Yeah, yeah, we're trying to build up a lot. So guys, I'm very aware of everybody's time, and it's been more than 2 hours that the board and our dear assistants have been doing this, and we're all getting pretty stupid and exhausted, and I need to go make a sandwich for my day tomorrow. We're going to do this again, and if you have additional questions, send them to us at the board. Board at PFS or mthompson@pfs.org. I feel like we really need to wrap this up because we're at the point now where people are saying, "And what about this? And what about this? And what?" And I understand, but I think we handled the big stuff. And the most important thing I want to say is thank you, directors at pfs.org. Yes, thank you for coming out and joining us. Thank you for not having it turn into a fracas. Thank you for being positive and supportive and kind to each other. And thank you for trying to save the Philadelphia Folk Song Society.
Great. For those of you who asked that about questions that weren't answered, I apologize if I missed any. I did try to combine the ones I thought made sense, and Miles just addressed what you should do if your question was not answered. So, and no, Charlie, I will not be making Miles a sandwich. He can make his own sandwich. So, I will say goodnight and ask the board to sign off as well. And we're good.
Yeah, in fact, board, do me a favor, board members and Six and Ann and Annie, stick around for one brief minute after everybody else pulls out, please. So if you guys could leave the meeting, it would be great. Go have a good night. Thank you all. We love you.
And buy your Talus tickets.
Yeah.
Great camp stage relived.
Alice is great.
Oh, they're so good.
I got to do lighting for them.
Such lovely humans. And we've got other shows coming up too, but we will post it all on the Facebook.
Mhm.